based on the current taxable value as of October 25, 2024. The 2025 tax millage is proposed to remain at 2.99 mils for the township and 0.48 for the fire departments, or a total of 3.47 mils. Within the context of an unpredictable world, we are responsible for managing a broad range of operations in an analytical and prudent manner. The township budget is the plan by which we protect against uncertainty from within the organization as well as from outside. It is intended to make our actions and the world around us as predictable as possible. The budget provides a big picture perspective and expresses priorities and directs the financial support needed to accomplish our goals. The 2025 budget contains funding to enhance the recreational facilities, fund our community centers, provide increased support to the Cooper Siegel Community Library, and it continues support for our professional police department, our 3 successful volunteer fire departments. And the budget provides the Public Works Department and administrative staff with the equipment and technology necessary for the township government's operating and capital needs. Indiana Township officials are proud of the enhancements which have been made to the township's facilities, roads, parks, sanitary, and storm sewer systems. The financial plan and vision in the 2025 budget builds upon those successes and lays the groundwork for the future. And next you have the index of the funds, showing all the funds, and I'll go through each of them. Start with the general fund and the summary of the revenues. If anybody has a question along the way, please feel free to interrupt me, stop me, and we can address it as we go through. The real estate property taxes, $2,357,807. The real estate millage rate remains the same. However, the anticipated total revenue for the real estate tax is slightly lower as a result of successful assessment appeals due to the recent court cases, lowering the common level ratio. With our recent new developments, this court order is not impacting Indiana Township as much as the county, school districts, and some other municipalities. The 3.47 mil tax is levied on all commercial, residential, and non-exempt real property. This provides 2.99 mils for the township, 0.48 for the fire departments. The township's assessed value as of October 2024 is $724,452,465. And that's down about 11 million from January. The interim tax billings are included in the current year line item. The prior year line item is the real estate tax remitted to the township after 12/31 that's billed in 2024 and collected in 2025. The delinquent line is 2023 and prior year's real estate taxes.
Dan, do we know if the appeals are pretty much over, or are they gonna continue?
Well, I expect them to continue to see another round, by next year, as more people become aware of the successful appeals that have been filed because of that. I think you're gonna see more coming into we're anticipating some.
But any of that would impact this budget, or would that impact 26 more than anything?
It could impact this budget. And our anticipation is, as I mentioned, we've had with the new construction that we've had done recently, we're signing those are being added on at the same time. We've had those reductions from the assessment, which is why we feel we're gonna be in a position
The whole line?
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. The Act 511 taxes is a total of $2,583,475. Something I should point out, when you look at that, you see some of the other communities like O'Hara has home rule, and they have the wage tax in O'Hara is 1% for the township, 0.5% for the school district. Here we're half and half, 1% half for us, half for the school. If we had the 1% wage tax, and you look at what we have in the Act 511 collections, you could eliminate the real estate property taxes if we had that revenue from 1% like O'Hara Township does. Just to me, it's an interesting point. I think a lot of people lose sight of. I've had some new residents that move here from O'Hara and are pleasantly surprised to learn, it's less expensive.
I get the word.
Yeah. The real estate transfer tax is collected at the time real estate sales by Allegheny County. The 2% tax is distributed between the Commonwealth PA 1% and the township 0.5% and the school district 0.5%. The earned income tax, as we said, is a tax on gross wages, net profits, and other compensation earned by township residents. It's 1/2 of 1%, which is shared with the school district. The township's member of the Allegheny County North Tax Collection Committee, which contracts with Keystone Collection Services for the collection of the tax. And the LST is assessed on all individuals who work within the township. The tax is $52 a year with an exemption for individuals earning less than $12,000 per year. Permits, franchise fees, fines, and interest, $235,450. The cable franchise fee is 5% of the sales revenue generated by Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and Verizon, who have contracts to utilize the public right of way to provide cable services to residents. Internet service revenue is excluded, and we're continuing to see higher interest revenue due to higher interest rates and fund balances. The type of investment options used are generally short and long-term investments with Pliget, the PA Local Government Investment Trust. Investments are governed by the second-class township code and other laws of the Commonwealth. Excuse me. Rents and royalties. And this group simply reflects the royalties and rental income of $90,500. In the state shared revenue, $236,475. The PERTA is a tax collected by Pennsylvania on tax exempt property owned by public utilities and is distributed to municipalities in which the tax exempt property is located. The state aid for the police and non-uniform pension programs is from the Commonwealth of PA. The source of the funds is a tax on casualty insurance written by companies located outside of PA for Indiana Township residents. And foreign fire insurance is from the Commonwealth of PA for distribution to the township fire companies, relief associations. The amount of funding received is related to the amount of fire insurance held by township residents, which has been written by companies located outside of Pennsylvania. These funds in turn are distributed directly to the fire companies' relief associations. In the general government and public safety, the $397,690 is the new development, transportation, and impact fees and permits. Highways and streets, $224,130. And this reflects the reimbursements from the state and county for snow removal, as well as reimbursement for sewer maintenance provided by our public works. And the sewer rentals is $17,000. Reflects the fees charged by TCDVA for fire hydrants, Oakmont Water Authority and Rosedale residents. Hampton Shaler and Fox Chapel Water Authorities each collect their own hydrant fees. Health insurance reimbursements, $65,000. That's the increase in, due to the increase in coverage costs. Workers' compensation dividends of $35,000. It's an increase anticipated due to reduced claim costs. And recreation fees and current assessments, $248,000. And that group reflects all recreation fees in the SADO environmental fee and the donations from private sources of $5,000, which gives us a total general fund balance of $6,495,527.
Can we go back to permits, franchise fees? If you look at the line 1 or page 1 of the actual budget, under the permits and licenses, the cable television.
Yes.
TV, it's been in 22 was 140,000, 138. This year was 120,000, and we're projecting 120,000 next year.
It's gonna be over 120, but it won't be much over.
Do we get?
We've seen a slight reduction in it. I expect it to actually be close. We just had a deposit for that, of what? It was since the first of the month, and I wanna say it was 20 some thousand when we received the disbursement. So that's since the first, so that would have been on.
Do we get any input from Comcast what their subscriber base is?
Well, we have
In other words, is
yeah,
it-
we have that whenever we do the franchise negotiations.
I mean, is it gonna continue to decrease, are we anticipating, or is it gonna?
It's not decreasing at the level I expected it to.
Okay.
that's why when we budgeted the 120, I wasn't expecting us to, I was hoping that we would hit that. We were gonna exceed that this year. Hopefully we continue to, you know. It's been a surprise, it really is, because
Cause you do hear
When
about
people
people
come-
getting away from.
right, and when they stream, that we haven't seen that level of reduction.
Okay.
So.
And we're doing that
this
audit.
This is a personal aside, but what I've seen is if you want like really high-speed internet, they basically almost give you cable for free. So basically, if you wanna stream, you know, they're gonna get you anyway, so. That's just my
Yeah.
personal anecdote, I don't know.
Hey, however, they can still give us the franchise fee for it, you know, because the internet's excluded.
Yeah.
And so we're not getting any revenue from that.
But they're like, do you want cable for nothing else? And I'm
Yeah.
like, sure.
Okay, thank you.
You know, everybody goes for the 2-year deal, you know, every 2 years you switch to the other provider, just. Okay. Okay, the legislative body, under the general fund summary of expenditures, that includes the updated codification, is $45,825. Administration is $629,594. The financial administration auditor, $10,000, and we increased that fee due to having the 2 accounting softwares this year, and anticipate there being more work involved in completing this year's audit next year. Tax collection, general government buildings, $329,200, and that's been adjusted to reflect the insurance prepayment for repairs to be done in 2025. And police, $1,848,350, and that amount includes the hiring of 1 replacement officer, 1 additional officer. These additions will decrease overtime and part-time wages. Fire, $115,500. That group has been adjusted due to the fire tax being recorded in a separate fund. Only expenses paid for from the general fund are recorded here. Code enforcement, $224,950. Planning and zoning, $128,750. And that includes professional services needed for the updating of the comp plan and the zoning ordinance. Highway maintenance and general services, $1,550,998. Continued increase in investment in roads and the other public infrastructure. The historical commission, $500. Participant recreation and parks, $53,850. And in Cooper Siegel Library, we did increase that donation 33% over this year to $20,000.
What does participant recreation mean?
Like the summer programs.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
shelter rentals.
Yeah,
So the folks that are hired for those
yes.
events and things, okay.
Civil and military, $2,500. Conservation and development, $21,100, and that has been adjusted to include the MS4 and the NPDES costs. And our loans, the interest, fiscal agent fees, and higher principal payments on the general obligation bond of $454,920. And insurance, $979,490. And refunds of prior year's expenses. This reflects the significant increase in real estate refunds due to those recent appeals, and that's $80,000. And the total expenditures done, leaving a balanced budget of $6,495,527.
Dan, just to circle back around to the tax collection, I didn't quite catch what you were saying there.
On the revenues?
Yes. Yeah, you had said that,
Tax collection and general service, this section's been adjusted. Insurance prepayment for repairs done in 2025?
okay, and where, is there, like a specific line item that we see that reflected?
Yeah, the tax collection you go to in the, page 6,
Yes.
that top, there's all the individual lines.
Okay, and so,
The current real estate commission, supplies, postage, surety bond,
just wanted to make sure I was on the same page. Thank you.
The next one's the dare fund. Is that where we are? Ian?
Yeah, the next one would be
Dare fund.
the general. There.
Okay, the dare fund is balanced at $9,000. The fire fund, let's go through those revenues. Excuse me. The real estate millage rate remaining the same, 3.47 mil. We have all the same information. The .48 for the fire departments, and that's $340,000. False alarm fees, $7,500. All fees are distributed to the Volunteer Fire Association as they are collected. Interest earnings, $7,500, that's been pretty good. See the interest earnings for the fire fund. And the cash balance, $4,000 to $5,500. That's due to the expensive amount of 2024 tax refunds. She said we need to use reserves. That's $360,500 for the total fire departments. And the expenditures, you'll see the fire department's $300,000. Each volunteer fire department receives an equal share of the 2024 real estate tax revenue. Insurance of $40,000. Materials and supplies of $2,000. False alarm fees of $7,500 and refunds of $11,000, giving you a total expenditures of $360,500. I understand someone from the fire department said they like the new software, the new reports.
Oh,
Any
It's not
question,
here.
Carol?
it's not on the screen up there.
Oh, we lost it.
We lost it.
You can, tell me you can see that from back there.
It's not there.
Yeah, she can see what it's saying.
Man.
Yeah.
I can't see it.
Get my eyes to focus.
There you go, Ian. Got it.
Okay, now I have to close your eyes so you don't forget it.
Thank you. The Crawford Run Water, you see that's $989. Still Water Fund, that's $6,845. The Ottawa Sewer, you see each of the sewer funds are balanced, $109,000 for Ottawa. Middle Road 1 is $209,890. Middle Road 2 is $107,920. And Fairview is $42,500. Even our capital reserve fund, proposing $30,000. Capital reserves, then we'll go through capital improvement, summary of the revenues. Interest earnings, $8,000, and the grants and donations of $70,000. That's possible public safety grant for a vehicle, private donations from local businesses. Water revenues, that's the repayment of the Roseville water line. $6,720. Sale of equipment is $30,000, and our cash balance forward, which is the insurance reimbursement, $90,000 received in 2024 for the Brozick roof, $52,000 grant for computers that are earned in the 2024 calendar year that will be expended in next year. And that gives us a total of the revenues of $625,000 for the capital improvement. You see the itemized list of the expenditures. The first being the salt shed, Rosick roof, of $425,000. And for the police, $52,000 computer grant, possible $65,000 car grant, and non-lethal weapons purchase, $130,000. And the highway maintenance and general services for $60,000, and that's a public works vehicle loan payment and possible public works equipment. And for the parks, $10,000, and that's our local share of the CDBG sidewalk grant at Emerling Park. And that gives us a balanced capital improvement of $625,000. Take us to the developer's rec fund. You see that's anticipated $80,000 in revenue, and those expenditures for the Emily Community Park. And Indian War Community Park. Total of $80,000. In the state highway fund, we have the interest revenues of $7,500. Liquid fuels tax funding for the X655 of $226,453. And the F-32 funding, $20,760. The PA turnback funding, and the cash balance forwarded, and that's $57,287 for a total state fund revenues of $312,000. And the state fund is revenue spent $250,000 of it for snow and ice removal, and $62,000 for the traffic signal and street lighting. We don't have our summary page here of total of all funds. What I'm looking for is the total number, all the funds combined, and apparently I left that out.
I can get it to you in a couple minutes.
Yeah, that'd be a little tough for me to do the math on that.
I was just getting that, Dan, thank you for holding the line. We're really
Feel good about it. It's good that we were in a position to do that. You know, and I think that that has a lot to do with all the decisions we made over the last couple of years here that have kept us moving in this path, so.
Dan, on the budget, for the parks under the developer fund, the
The
budget,
developers right now.
yeah, for Everling Park, what are the plans, for this year?
No, I wish I had all the for that. Well, the plans for this year at Emerald, we have that ADA sidewalk grant application that is in. That's for that extension, so Slagle's aware of the details of that.
So this would be phase 2 of the sidewalk project that would extend it to the
Okay, from, by the fishing pier area?
and over to where the fishing pier could go.
Okay. I wanted to talk to you about that too, so I'm trying to find more money to get that fishing pier done.
You know,
Get
I
this thing
thought,
done.
thought with the PA Fish and Game Commission, there should be they should be, it was difficult to understand why they would turn that down as an ADA project for the fishing pier. I think that maybe the Fish and Game Commission, especially if they're looking at being part of that purchase of the property, and they have the programs there to fund things like that, we should be able to get something through them for that, because that doesn't, Everling Park is really utilized for that. So,
So as my knees continue to fail me, I'm pushing more and more ADA.
I Yeah. You know, I'm surprised by the residents we have, and really appreciate the fact that we've done that in the park. They recognize it, they see it, they appreciate it.
Well, I'll just say, Ann and Dan, thank you for all the hard work. I know there's a lot that goes into this, so thank you for that. And we'll keep
And we'll have the summary sheet, we'll make sure for the vote for the adoption, which will be in December.
I just, it's real slow coming right now.
Yeah, we can also have those ready and printed up for the next time. That way you'll have, I'd like you to be able to see the total of all funds, and you can look at that as a comparison of what we had from last year, or this year, okay? So thank you all.
Thank you. This is always my favorite meeting of the year. We get to see it all on paper,
All the
all in
detail.
one place.
And it's all there.
I like that. I like looking at everything in one comprehensive place with assigned value.
Yeah. I mean, you look, the township's portion 2.99 mils, and you have the county talking about a 2.2 mil increase.